How many of you remember the financial crisis of 2008 or the recession of 2009? Today I'm going to give you some insight on what caused the worst recession since the Great Depression. My name is Brittany Lewis. I am a finance major at the University of Houston Clear Lake, and I recently completed a course on this topic. The housing bubble of 2007 was born and nurtured by government policies that led to risky lending practices that allowed and was fueled by subprime mortgages. I'll be covering subprime mortgages and how the government intervention allowed for half of all mortgages in the United States to be made up by these subprime mortgages, which then led to the financial crisis. I will first begin by explaining the main mechanism that allowed the bubble to grow so large. Subprime mortgages and mortgage-backed securities were the main component of the bubble. A subprime mortgage is a mortgage that is for individuals who do not qualify for a traditional mortgage. These individuals are typically low income, have bad credit history, or both. Due to government intervention, banks started to compete more and more for these subprime mortgages, which are very risky. By the time the bubble burst in 2007, there were 27 million subprime loans making up half of all mortgages in the United States, according to the Dissent of the Majority Report of the Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission. Mortgage-backed securities act as investments for banks, which are created by institutions who purchase their mortgages and then sell them back as investments, according to causes of the financial crisis. The mortgage-backed securities help reduce risk for the banks, but only when they're used by mostly prime mortgages. When subprime mortgages are used for mortgage-backed securities, however, they become very risky. The subprime mortgage-backed securities were being sold as investments, and the firms that were handling those investments were not being properly regulated. The firms are known in this system as the shadow banking system, where large amounts of money is traded daily for these investments, according to the shadow banking and the financial crisis. When the bubble finally erupted, the shadow banking system saw a sharp decline in their investing and their lending activity. Now we're going to review the government policies that led to the increase of subprime mortgages. Government entities that were created during the Great Depression, as well as government policies started in the 1990s, were combined to allow for more homeowners in the United States. Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae are government-sponsored entities that purchase mortgages from banks and then sell them back as mortgage-backed securities, according to a primer of the causes and consequences of the continuing financial crisis. Originally, Freddie and Fannie were creating mortgage-backed securities with prime mortgages, but during the late 90s and 2007, they were encouraged by the government to use subprime mortgage loans. This dramatically increased the risk of these mortgage-backed securities that Freddie and Fannie were selling. Government regulation also created a need for subprime mortgages, which directly affected the increased risk in the market, according to the Dissent of the Majority Report of the Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission. The Department of Housing and Urban Development passed a policy in 1992 that lowered the standards for mortgages, which increased subprime mortgages. Also, the Community Reinvestment Act, which was revised in the 90s, allowed for more flexible lending. This also put a quota on the banks to ensure that they were trying to lend out to their community, according to cause and effect, government policies, and the financial crisis. Government intervention and policies created the perfect storm for subprime mortgages to flourish. In the end, the government was a star player in allowing banks to make a large number of subprime mortgages, which was the pitfall of the American economy. America has seen housing bubbles before. What made this one so catastrophic was its composition, subprime mortgages. The government had the best of intentions, but sometimes trying to do the right thing doesn't always go the way we hope. Thank you.